Welcome back, everyone. You're tuning into the second session of our Dungeons & Dragons adventure. I'm Joe Rogan, your Dungeon Master, and I'm here once again with Donald Trump, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden. Fellas, how are you all doing today?
I'm feeling fantastic, Joe. Ready to get back into it. I've been practicing my sword swings all week.
Glad to be here, Joe. I've been thinking a lot about our last game. It was quite the experience.
I gotta tell you, Joe, I've been really looking forward to this. My grandkids even started calling me Scrappy Joe after last week.
That's great to hear. So to get us started, let's do a quick recap of our last session. Our adventurers, the Donald, Harmonious, and Scrappy Joe, had their first encounter in the local tavern of the town of Willowdale. After some introductions and a few drinks, their evening was disrupted by a group of goblins. Using their skills and teamwork, they successfully defeated the goblins, saving the town. They ended the night as local heroes.
And let's not forget, I had the final blow.
Yes, you did, Donald. That was quite the swing.
I was just happy I didn't trip over my own feet.
There's always this session, Joe. You ready to get started?
I'm ready, let's do this.
Lead the way, Rogan.
All right, let's get back into the world of Willowdale. All right, as the sun begins to rise over Willowdale, the townsfolk are waking up and starting their day as if nothing happened. But you guys know better. You witnessed the goblin attack firsthand, and you have a sense that this wasn't just a random event. What would you like to do?
I think we should investigate the goblin bodies. There might be some clues about why they attacked.
Great idea. Donald, since you landed the killing blow, why don't you lead the way on this?
I was just thinking the same thing. I'll inspect the bodies.
All right, the Donald, make an investigation check.
I rolled a 14.
Adding your investigation bonus, that's a 15. You search the bodies and find that the goblins were carrying more than just basic weapons. They had a map on them, with Willowdale clearly marked, along with a few other towns nearby.
Can I take a look at that map?
Of course, Harmonious. You look at the map and notice that there's a symbol on it that matches one you've seen in your arcane studies. It's the symbol of an old evil deity.
Excuse me, you didn't ask me, but fine, go ahead.
Thank you, Donald.
You mean this isn't just about goblins? There's some ancient evil involved?
It seems so, Scrappy Joe. It seems so.
Well, then let's get to it. We have a deity to stop.
Right you are, the Donald. And thus begins a new chapter in your adventure. The mystery of the goblin attacks and the evil deity awaits.
Hold on, before we rush in, shouldn't we gather more information? Perhaps there are people in town who can shed light on this.
That's a wise suggestion, Harmonious. What do you all think? Should we investigate further in the town or head straight towards the marked locations on the map?
I say we march right in. We're heroes now. We can handle it.
I'm with Barack on this one. A little more information could go a long way.
Sounds like we have a plan. Let's start investigating around town. As you make your way through Willowdale, the townsfolk greet you with smiles and nods, acknowledging your heroics from the previous night. Where do you want to start your investigation?
Let's head to the tavern. There's always someone there who knows something.
All right, as you walk towards the tavern, Scrappy Joe, you trip over a loose cobblestone. Make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh boy, that's a 7.
Despite your best efforts, you tumble to the ground, causing a bit of a scene.
Oh.
Some of the townsfolk laugh, while others rush over to help you up.
I don't know about you guys, but I never trip. I have great balance, the best balance.
We all stumble sometimes, Donald. It's how we get back up that matters.
With a bit of a blush and a chuckle, you all continue on to the tavern. Inside, it's bustling with patrons. The barmaid greets you warmly. "Back so soon, heroes?" she asks.
Yes, we're here for information, not drinks. Well, maybe a little bit of both.
She smiles and nods, pouring you each a drink. "What do you need to know?" she asks.
We found a map on the goblins we fought off last night. There was a symbol on it that we believe is related to an old evil deity. Have you heard anything about that?
She looks thoughtful, then concerned. "I've heard rumors of strange things happening outside of town. Animals acting weird, crops failing. I didn't think much of it, but maybe it's related."
That sounds like more than a maybe to me. We'll check it out.
But first, another round, please.
With newfound information and a sense of direction, you all continue your investigation. You're starting to piece together a bigger picture here, but many questions still remain. As your day of investigating in Willowdale continues, you can't help but feel that you're on the cusp of something much larger. The sun is setting on Willowdale, and you've spent the day gathering information. The townsfolk have been very cooperative, sharing rumors and whispers of odd happenings around the outskirts of town.
All right, enough talk. I've got a sword and I'm ready to use it. I say we head to the locations on the map.
Donald, we agreed to gather as much information as possible before charging in.
Yeah, well, I've changed my mind. I'm going.
Okay, the Donald. As you start to leave the town, you notice that the road leading out of Willowdale is eerily quiet. The usually bustling streets are deserted, and the only sound you can hear is the distant hooting of an owl. As you walk, you get an uneasy feeling. Roll a perception check.
I rolled a 16.
Adding your perception bonus, that's a 19. Out of the corner of your eye, you catch a glimpse of something moving in the shadows. As you turn to look, you see a small group of goblins stealthily moving towards the town.
I knew it. More goblins. I draw my sword.
Meanwhile, back in town, Harmonious and Scrappy Joe, you notice the Donald is left. What do?
Donald can be a bit headstrong. We should probably go after him.
I agree. He might need our help.
You quickly rush out of town following the Donald's trail. As you approach, you see him standing in the road, sword drawn, facing a group of goblins.
Donald, what did we say about rushing in?
Hey, I found the goblins, didn't I?
And with that, the tension in the air peaks. You are face to face with a new group of goblins, the town of Willowdale at your backs. Let's roll for initiative.
I got a 12.
And I rolled a 15.
13 for me.
And for the goblins, that's a 14. So the order is Harmonious, the goblins, the Donald, and then Scrappy Joe. Harmonious, you're up first.
I'll cast Vicious Mockery on the closest goblin.
All right, that's a wisdom saving throw for the goblin, which it fails. You see the goblin clutch its head in pain as your words take effect. Next up are the goblins. They charge towards the Donald, who is closest, but with a swift movement of his sword, the Donald parries the attack. Your turn, Donald.
I'll swing my sword at the goblin in front of me.
Roll for attack.
That's a 19.
That's a hit. Roll for damage.
8 damage.
With a swift and precise swing of your sword, you slice through the goblin, felling it. Seeing their fallen comrade, the other goblins start to panic. They turn tail and start to run away. Scrappy Joe, your turn.
Should we let them go?
They were likely driven here by whatever is causing the trouble. We should follow them.
The goblins are quickly disappearing into the forest. The immediate threat is over, but the adventure is far from done. What do?
We follow them, of course. They might lead us to their hideout.
That might not be a bad idea, but we should be careful.
I don't know, guys. Shouldn't we tell the town what happened?
No time, Scrappy Joe. Let's go.
All right. You start to give chase, moving quickly to keep up with the fleeing goblins. As you push your way through the underbrush, the noise of the town fades away and is replaced by the sounds of the forest. The goblins seem to be heading towards a dark, foreboding part of the forest.
We should tread carefully. We don't know what we might run into.
As you delve deeper into the forest, the trees seem to close in around you. The moon is high in the sky now, casting long, eerie shadows. You can still hear the goblins moving ahead, but it's clear you're not in Willowdale anymore.
All right, let's keep going. We're close.
With renewed determination, you push on, following the sound of the fleeing goblins. As you round a bend in the path, you see a flickering light up ahead. It looks like a campfire.
Maybe that's their camp. We should approach with caution.
As you draw closer, you can see the outlines of crude huts and hear the sound of goblin chatter. You found the goblin camp, but what will you do now?
We should try to sneak in, gather information.
Sneak in. I say we charge in, sword swinging.
I'm with Harmonious on this one, Donald. We don't know what we're dealing with.
All right, so you're going to try to sneak in. I need everyone to make a stealth check.
I'm not happy about this, but fine. That's a 14.
I got a 19.
Oh boy, that's a 7 for me.
With Scrappy Joe's heavy armor clinking and clattering, your approach is less than stealthy. The goblin guards start to look in your direction.
Actually, Joe, if you're doing a group stealth encounter, you need to add up and average the group's stealth rolls. Then compare to the passive perception of the goblins. Of course, it's up to the dungeon master to decide on the rules, but I thought you should know, for future reference.
Who was that?
Don't worry about it. Thanks, Jamie. I'll keep that in mind.
See, we should have just charged in.
Well, it's too late for that now. You're in the shadows on the edge of the camp. There are a handful of goblins milling around. Most of them seem to be engaged in mundane tasks, but a couple of them are on guard duty.
We need a distraction. I'll cast Minor Illusion to create a sound behind the guards.
Good thinking, Harmonious. The guards turn their attention to the noise, and you take the opportunity to sneak further into the camp. The camp is a mess of makeshift huts and scattered belongings. You see piles of stolen goods from the town, some crude weapons, and...
And what? What do we see?
Well, in one of the larger huts, you see a figure tied up.
A prisoner? We need to get them out.
You'll have to get past the guards first, and that's where we'll pick up next time.
Aw.
Well, guys, that's where we're going to leave it for tonight. You've stumbled onto a goblin camp and found a mysterious prisoner. What will you do next?
I still say we should have just charged in.
And I still say that wouldn't have been wise.
You know, this reminds me of a time back in Scranton.
Here we go.
Now, Donald, let him speak.
Well, there was this one summer when I worked at a local swimming pool. There was a group of kids who thought it would be fun to sneak into the pool after hours. One night they climbed the fence and snuck in, just like we did with this goblin camp. They were having a grand old time until old Mr. Henderson, the pool manager, came by to check the locks.
And let me guess, they got caught?
Well, sort of. You see, Mr. Henderson had a big, mean German shepherd named Duke. When Duke caught wind of the kids, he started barking like mad, woke up the whole neighborhood. Those kids tried to run, but they were soaked from swimming and kept slipping on the concrete. It was a real mess.
And the point of the story, Joe.
Well, I guess the point is, sometimes it's better to think things through before you act. Otherwise, you might end up running from a German shepherd in your swim trunks.
A fascinating tale as always, Joe.
All right, gentlemen, that's it for tonight. Good session, everyone. We'll pick up here next week. Remember, you're on the edge of a goblin camp with a mysterious prisoner and a whole lot of decisions to make. Rest up, and we'll see what happens next time.